Hello everybody, Cloud here, back at it again today with another video. So for today's video, it's going to be yapping about how one should build their Aventurine, what are the best stats to aim for, the stat goals, his best relic sets, best planner sets, and the Lightcones that you can use for your, for your Aventurine. We're not going to detail too much about Aventurine's Kit and his best in slot teammates because I might turn this into a 30-minute yap session, and I want to keep this video at least in less than like 20 minutes. Preferably I want to keep it in less than 10 minutes for easy editing. I don't want to talk too much about his kit anyway, since most of you who come to my this Aventurine video would probably have seen like showcases of Aventurine, and his kit is already out there on the internet. I'm not gonna spend like 2 minutes yapping too much about his kit. So without further ado, let's yap about Aventurine. Let's talk about the stats goal now for Aventurine. What you would want is around 4,000 defense, 134 speed, 30 crit rate, and 120 to 140 crit damage. Now let's yap about defense, right? Your Aventurine wants to be at 4,000 defense to basically triple dip into his kit's capabilities, right? Because if you invest into Aventurine's defense, it will not only increase the thickness of his shields, but also increase his damage potential while also increasing the amount of crit rate. Basically, he gets free crit rate as you build defense until a certain point, which is 4,000 defense. And the amount of crit rate that he receives is respectable enough. It's like around 40+%, okay? So almost like a Jing Liu level. You want 134 speed. You've probably seen all the Robin / basically the follow-up attack team showcase with Dr. Ratio, Topaz, Aventurine, and then Robin. I believe in that setup, what the amount of speed that you should aim for is that all your DPS should be like at basically faster than Aventurine. Aventurine should be at 134 speed, so your Topaz and Ratio, right? Your Topaz should be at higher speed than Ratio to apply a debuff, and then your Ratio should be after Topaz so he can use his skill, and then followed up with Aventurine right there. So that's basically it for the speed substat section. Just get 134 speed. As for the crit rate, I would advise getting at least, if you want to be very nitpicky, you can just go with like 20% crit rate, because you can run Aventurine as a full-on tank, but you're not making full use of his capabilities, right? Or making full use of his crit rate traces, right? Crit damage trace. Rock him with at least 30% crit rate. If you want to be a min-maxer, you can go for even a higher than that, 40% crit rate, because crit damage, there's a lot of sources for this, right? There's like the Broken Kill and others. Whereas for crit damage, you want to aim at least 120 to 140. As I mentioned before, there's a lot of crit damage sources in this game already, right? And there's like Broken Kill. There's also the upcoming Robin that will grant more crit damage. And Aventurine has like a 15% crit damage on his ultimate, so which is pretty good. Now moving on, let's talk about the main stat Prioirty for the relic pieces. For the headpiece and the arm piece, these are basically just the same. For your chest piece, you should be aiming for crit damage no matter what, because your other main stats will probably focus on like defense percentage. Like at least for Aventurine, you should have at least 2 of this should have the defense percentage. But for this one, you should focus on crit damage percentage, so you can make Aventurine a sub DPS no matter what, right? So in here we got like 3 rolls into crit rate, 1 roll into defense percentage, and 1 roll into HP percentage. It's an insane piece, by the way, because it is like 2 piece for the messenger hacker space, granting 6 speed for my Aventurine, right? Now when it comes to the boots, I would recommend getting speed over defense percentage. Now, the reason why I picked defense percentage here is because I saw one of my, this piece having defense percentage and having like speed, crit rate, crit damage. And I was like, you know what? I gotta take the bet here. And I rolled pretty good. But naturally, you want your Aventurine to run speed boost if you just want to have an easier time, right? For this one, you should get speed boost so that your Aventurine could be at 131 speed. You can go for defense boosts like I did, but I would only recommend defense boots if you have like the substats of like speed to reach 134 speed exactly, right? And moving on, when it comes to both the Orb and Spear, the number 1 recommendation is just go for defense percentage in both of them. I'm running an imaginary damage boost here for like my Aventurine's damage percentage boost, but the difference between imaginary orb versus the defense orb, it's probably negligible. The only reason why I'm rocking imaginary orb here is because I have better substats. Yes, you can see from here. When it comes to the rope, yeah, just same concept, run defense percentage. So I'll just say for the majority of players that don't have like my exact like SS plus tier build, go for crit damage, go for speed, go for defense percentage, and go for another defense percentage here. The goal is that at least both of this should be defense percentage, and this one should be speed, so you can like, you know, you don't have to grind for those relic speed substats like I did. And for this one, you just go crit damage. So you basically, you would brick your Aventurine if you're gonna go for like defense percentage. Like your Aventurine will 100% be able to sustain better than most sustains, even if he's a sub DPS build, no matter what. So that's basically it for the main priority stats. Now let's talk about the best relic sets for Aventurine. So we're now here in the Cavern Relic section. In terms of relic efficiency, the ones that I would highly recommend are the Pioneer Diver Dead Waters displays, because this one, if you're farming for Acheron, who else? If you're using Aventurine for your Acheron, your Doctor Ratio, and Topaz, this could be their best in slots, and you might get like a defense percentage here. Let's be real. Before we get further into the video when it comes to best relic sets, let's be real that your Aventurine will probably be rocking a 2-piece setup. He doesn't really need too much of the 4-piece right here. Like getting like a 4-piece for this one, not really necessary for Aventurine, right? Not really necessary. Like the 4% crit rate and the 12% crit damage, it's not that important for your Aventurine. What you should be aiming for are the substats and like the 2-piece effects, right? So yeah, in terms of relic efficiency, if you're using Acheron, Doctor Ratio, and Topaz, Pioneer Diver of Dead Water set is the best place to go. Another potential best place to farm could be this place, the Messenger Traversing Hackerspace and the Longevous Disciple. For the Longevous Disciple, this 1% not gonna be used for Aventurine, because like max HP doesn't really do much for him. But this 2-piece speed is the one that you want for your Aventurine, so you can easily reach the threshold. But then again, if you're going for speed boost for your Aventurine, you don't really need this place. But yeah, I'm just keeping your options available for this one. So assuming that you're running speed boost for your Aventurine, then you don't need like the 2-piece speed effect here. And now we're moving on to the other potential builds. If you want more damage, this one is a potential good one. Also this one, the Ash Blazing Ranjuk set, in terms of efficiency is good, because you can farm both DOT and follow-up attacks, which is good for your you know, follow-up attack units such as Ratio and Topaz, DOT for your Kafka Black Swan. Now moving on would be also this on the Wastelander set, but I wouldn't even farm this set. I believe this is the one where it's like, let me check. I don't really recommend this place because it has the Firesmith of Lava forging area, and this is literally a useless ass set, so yeah, not really useful. You can use, I mean, if you have some spare sets for like Aventurine here with this Wastelander, it's worth it. But I'm just saying you could use it, but I wouldn't recommend farming this place. You can make use of this relic piece right here, because the 2-piece effect does grant Aventurine defense percentage by 50% for you to easily reach that threshold. But you don't have to go for the entire 4-piece effect, because Aventurine at 4,000 defense should be able to, like, you know, easily sustain just as the other 5-star sustains, if not better. You know, you don't need the 4-piece effect for Aventurine, because his shields should be like, you know, are constantly stacking and they're thick as fuck. So basically, the best places to farm for your Aventurine is Path of Dream Dive, Path of Darkness, and Path of Elixir Seekers. This ones you can get Aventurine pieces, you can get a 2-piece speed here effect, and that's basically it for the best relic sets to farm for Aventurine. Now let's talk about the Planar sets, right? The best place to farm for your Aventurine's Planar set should 100% be Simulated Universe World 7. Precisely, you should get Broken Kill. For Broken Kill, right, increase the worst effect res by 10%. Aventurine will have 60% effect res alongside this. I think Aventurine will be at like 70% effect risk because you have to include the traces, right? So you automatically activate the effect for this. So your Aventurine is already at 70% effect risk and everybody gets like crit damage. So it's gonna be insanely good for, you know, all your other supports or DPS that require, you know, for crit damage percentage that they really desire. And a good thing for World 7 is that if you're still farming for like what your Sealay's relic piece, then yeah, this is good. The other potential place to farm for your Aventurine is World 6, but for World 6, I don't really recommend it. I don't even want to farm World 6 because you can get this. This is only useful for like what, Japort or March 7. And this one is like increase the wearer's defense by 15%. This is useful for Aventurine, but it's still literally useless because when you have two pieces in your main stats or defense percentage, you should be able to reach 4,000 defense or even like 3,500 defense far too easily. So this basically, like, I'm telling you that you shouldn't rock this with your Aventurine unless, of course, whatever you have with this Belobog of the Architect sect has like an insane substats. Then okay, maybe that's something that you should consider. But yeah, I wouldn't be farming this set. I wouldn't be farming Simulated Universe World 6 because of this. I'd be instead using the Relic Remains to be getting, you know, Inert Salsoto. So Inert Salsoto can be run with your Aventurine if you want to turn him more into a DPS. I mean, I'm rocking Inert Salsoto for my Aventurine since, you know, I already got some insane substats on my Aventurine. Increases his crit rate by 8%, insane. And when the wearer's current crit rate reaches 50% or higher, and you know, for Aventurine, he's able to reach, if you reach for 1,000 defense, you should be able to reach like 56% crit rate activating this second effect, which is the ultimate and follow-up attack damage increase. So basically this is worth it for Aventurine. But if we're talking about, you know, best place to farm, it has to be World 7. If you want to turn your Aventurine more into a DPS, it should be World 6. But I'm slightly more lean towards Simulated Universe World 7 because you can farm this for your Blade or your Sealay, and then you can get this. Basically anybody can use this. Your supports can use this, even your defense, your Fushwan, your Wowo is probably using this. And besides, it's Broken Kill. It's literally one of the most broken Planar sets in this game so far. So basically, yeah. So now talking about the best Lightcones for Aventurine, of course, his best install will definitely be his signature Lightcone. It grants him more defense percentage. It has higher base stats than a 5-star Japort signature Lightcone when it comes to defense. It grants him crit damage, and one of the unique things about Aventurine signature Lightcone is that it really boosts damage by a lot when it comes to like follow-up attack teams, right? Basically, Aventurine signature Lightcone allows Aventurine to drop a debuff from his follow-up attack, and this debuff is a 10% universal vulnerability multiplier. So basically, it's 10% free damage for all your units, and this will affect Robin's like attack while in their consort states. So just saying that. So just saying, Aventurine signature Lightcone is pretty useful and good especially if you're gonna invest into the follow-up attack teams, and assumably you're using like Doctor Ratio in order to get more debuffs on enemies, in order to like ease Ratio's debuff requirement. Now moving on, beyond the signature Lightcone, the other two best options would be the Moment of Victory. Before I yap too much about the other Lightcones, the Lightcones that you wanna get for Aventurine are the ones that have like the effect of increasing his defense percentage by a lot, because this will easily help you reaching that 4,000 defense threshold. So basically, after Aventurine signature Lightcone, this should be the next best in slot easily because it increases the wearer's defense by 24%. It grants you good base stats of like 595 in your defense. And the one thing that Moment of Victory has over Aventurine signature Lightcone is that it increases the chance for the wearer to be attacked. So basically, your Aventurine is far more likely to be attacked, increasing your chances of like triggering your follow-up attack in a single cycle. So there's that. The other best option for Aventurine I think I'll just show it in the images here. It's the new Lightcone. I think it's a new gacha Lightcone. It's called the Concert for Two. Yeah, I assume that we're talking about S5, right? So it increases the wearer's defense by 32%. And for every on-field character that's a shield, and Aventurine will have the team-wide shield, the damage dealt by the wearer increased by 8%. So basically 32. So basically for Aventurine, this 32% defense, which is good, and 32% damage percentage. So basically emphasizing on his, on his role as a sub DPS. Now let's talk about day one of my new life. This is a good Lightcone. It increases the defense by 24%. And after entering battle, ulti-press, which is a different multiplier in your defensive stats for your units, by 12%. So insanely good for your Aventurine, assuming that you got S5. It helps in the reaching the threshold of 24%. Good. For Landau's choice, this is pretty fucking mid. Even though your Aventurine is more likely to be attacked and the damage taken is reduced. Look at this. This is a low-ass base stats. Compare that to like what day one of my new life, which grants you defense by 24%. Yes, this one has higher base stats. Like the only thing that this will likely be good for is like what, I don't know, Japard. But like even then, nah, damage taken is reduced by 24%. The other one is Trend of the Universal Market, which this is a good one, even though it has lower base stats and defense. It does increase the wearer's defense by 32%. Really insane for your dot teams or even your Acheron teams. So there's that. But next one is We Are Wildfire. This is a pretty mid Lightcone. Moving on. This one, I think this is the Lightcone that you can get from the shop. This is a pretty mid Lightcone. Sure, the effect press is really important and the damage dealt could be good, but it doesn't really help with reaching your Aventurine's 4,000 defense threshold. Now we'll just move on to the 5-star ones. Oh wait, this is the other 4-star one. This is me. This is the Battle Pass Lightcone. This is good because it can easily help you reach the threshold for the defense of 529. It increases the wearer's defense by 32%. Increase the damage of the wearer when they use their ultimate by 120%. This doesn't really matter. Sure, it's more damage for your Aventurine, but nah, not worth it. If I'm using this Lightcone, this is more so for the helping me in reaching the 4,000 defense threshold for my Aventurine. Now let's move on. I'm not gonna talk too much about 3-star Lightcones. You should not be using this. This just has low base stats. Now let's talk about the 5-star ones here. Your Aventurine's not gonna make use of the max HP percentage because he scales off more from defense. The energy regeneration rate could be useful for Aventurine in order to get that one last ultimate in a cycle, or like one more ultimate in a cycle, but not too important for Aventurine. When the wearer's HP is reduced, all allies damage dealt increases by 9%, lasting for 2 turns. Okay, you basically can't activate this effect anymore because your Aventurine, Aventurine is basically covering everybody with a shield, right? Aventurine covers yourself with a shield. So it's like your Aventurine is never gonna be able to activate this set, assuming that your Aventurine has good stats, but like, yeah, basically not a good signature Lightcone for Aventurine, like anti-synergy. At the start of every wave, restore HP to all allies by an amount equal to 80% of their respective lost HP. Another useless effect for Aventurine because a lot of the time, your Aventurine should be able to defend them from taking, health HP damage. So not the best Lightcone for Aventurine. The next one is Texture of Memories. Let's look at this at S5. Now this, again, not a really good Lightcone because it doesn't increase like defense percentage. Sure, that's good base stats, but I prefer defense percentage. So that's basically it for the Lightcone options. Basically, the two best ones are the incoming gacha Lightcone Concert for 2, Moment of Victory, day 1 of my new life. Trend of the Universal Market is good, assuming that you're rocking him with Acheron or DOT teams. This Is Me is also good, and these other Lightcones, they're mid. Now that I'm done yapping about most things for Aventurine, let me show you my, Aventurine build that I have on my March 7th, and just let me flex it because I didn't really farm too much for this set, right? Because some of them were from my DPS, some of them I just saved, so I didn't really spend too much stamina for Aventurine. So let's check it out. Oh, there we go. So you can see from here, I used the Freeball Sweat Sub, and as you can see, I achieved my desired sub stats for Aventurine. I got 4,000 defense, 4,046 defense instantly. Speed of 137. This is good for my future follow-up attack team. He's got 37.3% crit rate. This will equal to like around 85% from the 48% free crit rate that we get from his trace. We get a crit damage of 144.6, insane. We get this useless ass effect hit rate. 24% of it came from Japard, which is like but like 11.2% of it came from here. And as you can see from here, there's a mid-ass fucking piece right here. Score of B when I got like every other here like S plus, what the fucks, and then like a triple S right here. We got an effect res of 10% from Aventurine. This will turn into 60%. I believe this 10% is coming from his trace. Yeah, it has to come from his trace, right? Because this is a 48%. Imaginary damage boost is 38.8%. And this will increase Avengers imaginary damage, so this is good. And we got a crit value of 143.2 and a character score of like SS plus. So yeah, my Aventurine stats is insane. I'm just flexing here, so basically, I'd be stupid if I'm not gonna pull for Aventurine. So yeah, that's basically it for, you know, my flexing. So yeah guys, that's basically it for this video. Hopefully once I'm done editing this video, it's gonna be in less than 20 minutes. I don't want this yapping session to be longer than that, like I did in my other previous video with Sparkle. Hope you enjoyed my yap session. Make sure to leave a like, share, and subscribe. Leave down in the comments you're pulling for Aventurine. Hopefully you win your 50-50 for Aventurine, because he's coming out in 2 weeks. Hopefully you save up your Stellar Jades, because Aventurine is definitely gonna be one of the top 3 sustains in the Honkai Star Rail as of like Aventurine's release, 100%. If not top 1 in like sustain, rivaling even Wowo, and he's probably even better than Fushwan. So that's basically it for this video, and see you next time. Peace.